Hi children, and I hope you had a nice week. Welcome to today's lesson for kindergarten class, lesson number 10. And our topic is Abraham's altars. Abraham's altars. Children, altars are places of worship. Altars are holy ground where you can choose to be worshiping your God, and you can make it a corner in your room. You can make it a whole complete room of worship. You can construct some special room outside where you can go and worship. You can you can even make it outside under a tree, on a playground, in your office compound, so that you can get time to go and worship. So those are called altars. And Abraham's altars, remember children, Abraham and their clan, Abraham, Lot's family, they were all on the move, and they had shifted. You remember us studying about shifting? Abraham follows God, and we had shifted with all our stuff. So here is Abraham, and they had moved and moved, and Sarai and Lot, they had traveled for many days. Sometimes they had walked until they got so tired. Sometimes Sarai would have ridden on top of a very big camel, and servants were there busy directing the animals. You remember, the flock was so many sheep, so many goats, the camel, the donkeys, the horses. Remember, we mentioned all the domestic animals that they might have had to move, because they were very rich. Abraham was really super rich, and Lot was also equally very rich, and they loved the way the animals had multiplied. Then God told them to move. We learned about Abraham follows God, but today we are looking at Abraham's altars. And then you remember, we had just said Sarah might be getting tired, and then he would use a camel back to ride so that he would not get so tired. And the servants were there moving and moving. They would get so tired and so thirsty, so dusty on their feet, but all the same they were on the move. Then as they moved, they got to a place, and they were going to a place they didn't know. You remember? And God had told them he was going to direct them where they were to go. And some people would stop them on the road and asking, you people, you're too many. Where are you going, and who are you? And Abraham would answer them, they are servants of God, and they had to move because God had instructed them to. And then Abraham would answer, we worship only the one true God, who is God who lives in heaven, creator of heaven and earth, and is the one who instructed us to move to where he would direct us. So people would really admire at the large number of people, large number of animals, and then maybe others would have told them, tell us more about this God of yours. Tell us. Some people would have listened and even decided to worship God like Abraham did. Others would have even joined them in the journey. Finally, after a long journey, Abraham and all that were with him crossed into the land of Canaan. They camped beside a great oak tree at a place called Shechem. That day, the Lord appeared to Abraham. He pointed in every direction. Abraham, said God, I am going to give this land to your children and your children's children and their children's children. Abraham saw that the people who lived in Canaan worshipped idols. They even worshipped their idols by the very tree where the Lord appeared to Abraham. But Abraham didn't worship their idols. Instead, he built an altar. As we said, an altar is a church or a place where you can keep aside for the worship of our true God. So he made an altar there. And then he had his family worship God there. They thanked God for leading them throughout their long journey. They were so happy they had followed the instructions of God. They thanked for keeping everyone safe, and they thanked God for keeping their flocks and herds safe too. Abraham, Sarah, Lot, and their servants, and all people who joined them, traveled further and further into the land of Canaan. God led them. He was showing Abraham all the land that would belong to his children and his children's children. And every time Abraham stopped to camp, he built an altar where they would worship God and thank him for the many good things he had done to them. Just as we have said, he had led them safely. He had kept all their flocks safe. Like Abraham, God's people today build special places of worship. Our place of worship is called what, children? The church. The church is our special place of worship. where we go every week or even in between the week to worship. So children, it's important to go to church. Children who love God are good children, obedient children, lovely children, and teachers in school love them. Their parents love them too. So what's our message today? Our message today is Christian families worship God together. Children, our message is Christian children worship God together. Our message is Christian children worship God together. So what's our memory verse? Our memory verse, children, comes from the book of Psalms chapter 100 verse 2. Psalms chapter 100 verse 2, and it says, worship the Lord with gladness. It's a simple verse. Our memory verse comes from the book of Psalms chapter 100 verse 2. Psalms chapter 100 verse 2. Psalms chapter 100 verse 2, and it says, worship the Lord with gladness. Worship the Lord with gladness. Worship the Lord with gladness. Isn't it a lovely memory text, children? It's so simple. Worship the Lord with gladness. God bless you, children. Bye.